Here's a belief that will shatter everything you think you know about trading failure. The traders who quit aren't the clueless beginners throwing money at meme stocks. They're the sharp, analytical minds who recognize they're outmatched by something they can't see on any chart. I've watched brilliant engineers, successful doctors, and razor-sharp lawyers walk away from trading after 3 months of modest losses that wouldn't even dent their annual income. Meanwhile, struggling traders keep bleeding capital in blissful ignorance, convinced their next trade will be the one. While the unaware keep clicking, mistaking action for progress, intelligent traders experience what I call premature evacuation syndrome. They sense the psychological minefield and retreat before learning to navigate it. They detect a war being fought off-screen and walk away without the armor to fight it. They recognize that every green candle triggers dopamine hits designed to make them overconfident. Every red candle creates cortisol spikes that cloud judgment for hours. This awareness becomes their curse because they retreat before developing the frameworks to survive the battle. The struggling trader? They're having too much fun to notice they're being systematically destroyed. Each small win feels like validation. Each loss feels like bad luck. They're playing slot machine psychology while convinced they're running a business. The pain comes in small, manageable doses that never trigger the survival instinct to stop and reassess. The paradox? Winners look bored while losers look thrilled. The market rewards detachment, not dopamine. It doesn't care about your intelligence. It cares about your discipline. It doesn't care about your predictions. It cares about your process. Two identities walk onto the trading floor every day. The gambler chases signals and excitement. They live for the rush, constantly in the action, because sitting in cash feels like missing out. Their trading account becomes an entertainment subscription with occasional profits. The operator runs protocols and gets paid by probability. They wait. They pass on marginal setups. They risk the same amount every trade, regardless of conviction. They look bored because they've learned that boredom pays better than excitement. This creates trading's cruelest irony. The people most equipped to succeed quit before they learn to win, while those destined to fail stick around long enough to prove it. By the end of this journey, you'll possess 3 things. The gambler never will. The operator's 3-pillar system that transforms psychological insights into automatic behavior. The mirror journal that exposes self-sabotage patterns invisible during emotional trading, and 2 psychological firewalls that prevent account destruction even on your worst days. Stakes. Ignore this, and you'll join the 90% who quit within a year. Death by 1,000 emotional cuts, or one revenge trade that nukes everything. The statistics don't lie, but they don't tell you that most don't blow up spectacularly. They die slowly through inconsistent position sizing, broken stop discipline, and revenge trading after losses. They quit not because they can't read charts, but because they can't read themselves. The market is your teacher, but are you bringing a student's mind or a gambler's ego to class? This teacher doesn't grade on effort or intelligence. It grades purely on behavior under pressure. The smartest students often fail because they think they can outsmart the curriculum instead of learning it. They want to debate probability theory, while the teacher is testing emotional control. The intelligent traders who recognize this psychological warfare early have 2 choices: retreat to the safety of index funds, or stay and learn to navigate the minefield. The ones who stay and develop psychological frameworks don't just survive. They thrive because they've solved the real problem while everyone else is still fighting symptoms. Your biggest enemy isn't the institutions, algorithms, or news. It's the primitive part of your brain that craves instant gratification and recoils from discomfort. How do you disarm an enemy that weaponizes your very intelligence against you? The market doesn't beat you with complexity. It beats you by turning your greatest strengths into your worst enemies. This isn't random emotional chaos hitting different traders differently. These are 3 systematic psychological attacks designed to exploit the very intelligence that brought you to trading in the first place. Once you recognize the pattern, you'll see these traps everywhere. Mind game 1 is the patience trap. Your disciplined mind knows waiting for A-plus setups is correct strategy. Then the teacher market springs its carefully designed snare. News breaks at 9:47 a.m., and volatility explodes across your watch list. Social media floods with screenshots of 20% gains captured in minutes while you sit in cash following your rules. The chaos traders are printing money while you're doing nothing. Your brain interprets this stillness as failure because it's wired for action and reward. Every minute of waiting feels like opportunity, cost mounting. The primitive part of your mind screams that disciplined traders are passive losers, missing the real action. But here's the neurological trap. Your dopamine system responds to unpredictable rewards more powerfully than predictable ones. Those random explosive moves create chemical addiction to being in the action, even when statistics prove that 90% of gap moves reverse within 2 hours. The patience trap convinces smart traders that discipline equals missed opportunity when waiting is your edge compounding silently. Mind game 2 is the perfection prison. Early wins become your psychological downfall. You nail 3 trades in a row, each confirming your analytical superiority. Your brain establishes a dangerous baseline. Trading should feel easy, and losses shouldn't happen to someone this smart. This perfectionist expectation creates 2 equally destructive paths. Path 1. You become so loss-averse that you avoid trades entirely, analyzing yourself into paralysis because no setup meets impossible standards. Path 2. When losses inevitably occur, you hold them hoping for break-even instead of taking stops. Your intelligent mind rationalizes every decision to avoid admitting error. The statistical irony destroys the brightest traders. Those comfortable with 60% accuracy and quick stops compound wealth steadily, while 90% win rate perfectionists blow up when their inevitable losing streak arrives without psychological preparation. They take small profits to protect their record, but let losses run to avoid admitting mistakes. Perfectionism isn't high standards, it's fear wearing a halo. Mind game 3 is identity warfare. Every session becomes a negotiation between 2 characters fighting for control of your mouse. Your operator brain built the trading plan, calculated position sizes, and identified A-plus setups during calm pre-market hours. Your gambler brain craves the dopamine hit of being in the action and fears missing explosive moves when volatility hits. Market movements weaponize this internal conflict through intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological principle that makes slot machines addictive. Every price spike triggers dopamine release that hijacks your systematic approach. The occasional random win from breaking rules strengthens neural pathways that guarantee long-term failure. Your brain literally rewires itself to crave the behaviors that will eventually destroy your account. This explains why disciplined traders suddenly find themselves overtrading during volatile sessions. The gambler brain convinces the operator brain that just this once won't matter. But one emotional trade becomes 3, and 3 becomes a blown daily limit. Notice the pattern. Each mind game reframes your virtues as liabilities. Patience becomes paralysis unless you define specific weight filters. High standards become sabotage unless you define good enough and let stops do their job. Intelligence becomes rationalization unless you install simple if-then rules ahead of emotional moments. These aren't character flaws or random emotional responses. They're predictable psychological attacks with mathematical consequences. The patience trap creates overtrading during volatile periods. The perfection prison generates either paralysis or catastrophic loss holding. Identity warfare triggers systematic rule breaking disguised as adapting to market conditions. But here's what the 5% who survive understand. If these attacks are systematic and predictable, they can be defended against systematically. The same mathematical principles that guarantee casino profits can protect you from all three mind games. Next, we'll prove with simple math why these psychological patterns create predictable failure, and how the casino principle becomes your shield against every attack the teacher market can throw at you. Casinos don't win every hand, but they always win the math. Walk into any casino and witness the most successful business model in human history. Consistent execution of average odds that compound into guaranteed profits. The house edge on roulette is only 2.7%, but that tiny mathematical advantage generates billions because it's applied systematically across millions of spins without emotion, revenge betting, or rule deviation. Pure mathematical certainty executed without emotional interference. This chapter delivers the mathematical foundation that transforms trading from gambling to business operation. The casino principle reduces all trading success to one formula that separates the 5% who survive from the 95% who quit. Expectancy. Win rate x average win. Loss rate x average loss. Expectancy. Win rate x average win. Loss rate x average loss. Simple math, profound implications. Let's prove that consistent execution of average strategies beats perfect strategies destroyed by emotion through step-by-step examples. Consider a trader with 45% win rate, 1.2R average winners, and 1R average losses. Expectancy 0.45 bounce to 0.1551 to 0, 54 zeros, 55 per 0, 1R expectancy 0.451 to 2, 0.551, 0, 50 or 55 0, and R barely losing, right? But watch what happens with one small improvement. Extending average winners to 1.3R. Expectancy 0.45 by 1.3, 0.55 1.0, 0, 585 0, 50 firm 0, 0.35R. Expectancy 0.45 on 10 rich, 0.55 1 to 0, 0, 585 to 0, 0.35R suddenly profitable with the same 45% win rate. Meanwhile, the perfectionist seeking 90% accuracy, who occasionally breaks and stops, transforms winning systems into account killers. When 1R losses become 2.5R disasters twice per week. Expectancy, natural 0.40 at 1.2, 0.5514, and 0, 54 0, 7 in 0, 23R expectancy, 0.4512, 0.5514, 0, 54 0, 7 to 0, 23R account death spiral begins. The invisible killer isn't low win rates, it's unlimited downside through broken stop discipline. Risk of ruin mathematics reveal brutal truth about small rule violations. Perfect 1R stop discipline with 2% risk per trade gives less than 1% chance of losing 50% of your account over 100 trades. Break stops just 10% of the time, letting losses balloon to 2R, and that probability jumps to 15%. Break stops 20% of the time, and account destruction becomes virtually guaranteed within 6 months. Here's the AB case study proving identical market conditions produce opposite outcomes based purely on execution discipline. Same week, same setups, different results. Trader A wins 6 out of 10 trades, but breaks stops twice when obvious support levels tempt wider risk. Those violations turn 1R losses into 3R disasters. Final tally, 6 wins at 1.2R. Each minus 2 losses at 3R plus 2 losses at 1R equals negative 8R for the week, down 15% on his account. Trader B wins only 4 out of 10 trades, but maintains religious 1R stop discipline while letting winners breathe to 1.5R. 4 wins at 1.5R minus 6 losses at exactly 1R equals break-even on paper. But his mathematical discipline keeps him psychologically strong and actually up 8% for the week because consistency attracted better setups as confidence built. Same market conditions. Opposite outcomes. The difference wasn't intelligence, chart reading, or prediction accuracy. The difference was mathematical discipline executed without emotional interference. This introduces your most powerful diagnostic tool, the Mirror Journal. Not another complicated trading log, but a 2-minute post-trade analysis exposing patterns invisible during emotional execution. 3 questions after every trade. What was my emotional state entering? Did I follow rules exactly? What would I do differently with perfect hindsight? The mirror doesn't judge. It reflects truth about actual behavior versus intended behavior. 3 metaphors anchor this mathematical foundation. The market becomes your teacher. Every outcome provides feedback about execution quality, not prediction accuracy. Your journal becomes your mirror, reflecting true trading behavior, not ego stories about trading behavior. Your hands become a sniper. One precise shot per setup. No spray and pray hoping something hits. The math is crystal clear. Casinos win through consistent execution of slight edges compounded over thousands of repetitions. Your edge isn't predicting direction. It's executing consistent risk management while competitors break rules under emotional pressure. But knowing math isn't enough. Casinos don't rely on willpower to maintain their edge. They build systems making discipline automatic and mistakes difficult. How do you build the daily operating system that makes this mathematical certainty your reality instead of another good intention destroyed by emotional trading? Welcome to the operator loop. 3 moves repeated forever that separate professionals from gamblers. This isn't theory. It's the daily operating system used by the 5% who survive and thrive. Every casino runs these same phases flawlessly. They plan their games mathematically, execute without emotional deviation, and review performance to optimize edges. Your trading business deserves the same systematic approach that transforms psychological insights into automatic professional behavior. Move 1. Plan with the teacher. Before market open, you shift from reactive gambler to proactive operator through 5 non-negotiable decisions. Calculate your risk unit size based on current account balance, never more than 1% per trade, period. Scan your watch list and identify only A-plus setups meeting all criteria. Marginal setups get ignored regardless of FOMO. Establish no-trade zones based on economic news, earnings releases, or choppy structure that historically destroys your edge. Set maximum trade count for the session. 3 quality attempts beats 10 mediocre ones. Define daily loss limit triggering. Immediate shutdown regardless of conviction on remaining setups. Planning isn't predicting, it's restricting. You're choosing battles, not forecasting outcomes. The teacher market provides curriculum through price action and structure. You decide which lessons to attend based on your edge, not market excitement. Write answers on a 1-page checklist readable in 60 seconds. What markets? Which setups? How much risk per trade? When do I stand down? Move. 2. Execute like a sniper. Weight filters. Eliminate impulse trades through specific requirements. No trades first 5 minutes after open. No entries without volume confirmation. Only enter after clear structure breaks and retests. If price gaps beyond daily average true range, stand down automatically. If heart rate spikes or palms sweat, step away 5 minutes before any action. If, then rules automate responses during emotional moments. If 2 consecutive losses occur, then mandatory 15-minute break. If daily loss limit approaches, then position size cuts in half. If slippage exceeds half R, then pass the setup. If winners reverse quickly, then take partial profits at predetermined levels instead of hoping for maximum gains. Stop discipline becomes non-negotiable through environmental design. Hard stops placed immediately upon entry at exactly 1 R, never widened under any circumstance. Position sizing calculators prevent emotional over-leveraging. During high-conviction setups, 1 shot per setup, no averaging down, no second chances on the same pattern. Your hands become precision instruments, not emotional release valves. Move. 3. Review in the mirror. Grade execution quality, not PL results. A profitable trade with broken rules earns a D grade. A losing trade with perfect process gets an A. The mirror reveals patterns invisible during emotional trading through 3 questions. What was my emotional state entering each trade? Did I follow every rule exactly as written? What would I change about my process? Not predictions. Extract one specific behavior to improve tomorrow. Not trade better, but wait for volumed confirmation on breakouts. Or take partial profits at 1.5R instead of hoping for 2R. This iterative refinement builds mastery through compound behavioral improvement. Map common sabotage points and defend them systematically. Risk parameters drift larger during winning streaks as overconfidence builds. Revenge clicking after losses bypasses weight filters as emotion hijacks decision-making. Overtrading during choppy conditions stems from boredom, masquerading as opportunity recognition. Buffer zones protect you from yourself through systematic constraints. Time-based trading windows prevent after-hours revenge trading when emotions run highest. Maximum daily trade counts force quality over quantity thinking. Pre-committed loss limits with automated enforcement remove discretionary destruction during emotional moments. Your identity anchor. I am the risk manager of my account. Not the predictor or profit maximizer, but the risk manager. This reframes every decision from how much can I make to how much can I afford to lose. Professional traders manage downside. Profits manage themselves through mathematical expectancy. You have the loop framework, but frameworks fail under pressure without specific protocols and environmental design. What exact checklists go on your desk? Which if-then rules cover your most common mistakes? How do you engineer an environment making discipline effortless when the teacher market springs its cruelest tests? You don't beat the market with willpower. You beat it with systems that make discipline effortless and mistakes difficult. Willpower depletes under stress. Systems compound under pressure. This chapter builds the fortress, your complete tactical infrastructure that transforms trading from emotional warfare to systematic business operation. 7 components working together create unbreachable defense against the 3 mind games. Pre-flight protocol. Your morning routine primes operator mindset before emotional hijacking begins. Spend 2 minutes on controlled breathing, shifting from gambler arousal to operator clarity. Scan overnight news for bias awareness, not prediction attempts. Tag potential volatility triggers like earnings or economic data. Review your A-plus playbook with 3 pictures of valid setups and 3 pictures of invalid lookalikes. Calculate today's exact risk unit at 1% of current account balance and write this number prominently visible. Set identity intention. I am the risk manager of my account. This 15-minute protocol ensures you enter the market as a professional, not a reactive gambler. If, then rules. These automate responses during emotional moments when rational thinking disappears. If price moves beyond daily average true range within first hour, then stand down automatically. Explosive moves reverse 87% of the time within 2 hours. If 2 consecutive losses occur, then mandatory 15-minute walk away from screens and emotional state reset. If heart rate spikes or hands sweat, then stand up and start 5-minute box breath timer before any action. If daily loss limit approaches within 0.5R, then position size cuts in half for remaining attempts. These rules remove discretionary destruction during peak emotional moments. Weight filters. Your patience protocols prevent impulse trades that destroy accounts. No trades first 5 minutes after market open when gaps create false signals. Must see clear structure breaks with decisive volume. Breakouts need 150% of average volume minimum. Price must hold breakout level for minimum 2 candles before entry consideration. These filters eliminate 80% of losing trades caused by premature entries while your brain screams about missed opportunities. Stop discipline. Mathematical enforcement through environmental design. Hard stops placed at exactly 1R maximum the moment position opens, never widened under any circumstance. Position sizing script calculates exact share count, preventing emotional overleverage during high-conviction setups. Disable order amendments, allowing drag-and-drop stop widening. Make cheating physically harder than compliance. This single component separates professionals from gamblers because unlimited downside destroys accounts, while limited downside builds wealth. Trade caps and loss limits, the specific numbers that end overtrading and revenge trading. Maximum 3 trades per session forces quality over quantity thinking. Maximum 2R daily loss triggers automatic platform shutdown with screens closed and trading applications logged off. Hit plus 3R early. Shift to protect mode with one final attempt allowed only if A+ setup at half normal size. These limits prevent catastrophic sessions that destroy months of gains in single emotional episodes. Environment design. Engineer your space to support discipline automatically. Remove mobile trading apps, preventing impulsive trades during emotional moments. Replace constant chart watching with price alerts at key levels. Opportunities come to you instead of hunting them obsessively. Use black and white charts during market hours to reduce emotional salience, returning color only for review. Keep position sizing calculator, water bottle, and checklist taped to monitor Beazle within immediate reach. Mirror journal template. 2-minute post-trade diagnostic capturing patterns invisible during emotional execution. Before trade. Emotional state rating 1 to 10. Setup quality grade AF. During trade, any rule deviations, physiological changes. After trade, execution grade, focusing on process, not outcome. Tomorrow's single behavioral improvement focus. Weekly review surfaces your top 2 errors by frequency and cost, turning vague frustration into surgical targets. The Fortress works because it externalizes decisions before you're emotional and automates enforcement when you are. Each component reinforces others. Weight filters prevent impulse trades. If, then rules automate responses. Environment design removes temptation. Together, they make operator behavior the path of least resistance. But theory means nothing without battlefield testing. How does this meticulously constructed system perform when the teacher market springs its cruelest tests? News whipsaws, chop traps, and parabolic temptations that make discipline feel like cowardice. The teacher market springs pop quizzes designed to break your fortress. This chapter runs 4 brutal scenarios, contrasting how gamblers get destroyed while operators thrive using identical market conditions. Same charts, same opportunities, opposite outcomes based purely on system adherence versus emotional reactions. News whipsaw. Consumer Price Index data releases at 8:30 a.m., triggering violent price swings. SPY gaps down 1.2%, then rockets 0.8% higher within 15 minutes before reversing hard. The gambler sees opportunity everywhere, chases the initial spike with oversized position, gets shredded when reversal hits, refuses to cut loss because news was bullish. When bounce arrives, revenge trades with double size to get even fast. 2 trades in, down 4.5 R, and adrenalized enough to ignore every rule. The operator's weight filter keeps powder dry during chaos. No trades first, 5 minutes rule prevents gap chase disasters. Price beyond daily ATR triggers automatic stand-down protocol. Watches carnage from cash, waiting for structure. At 11:15, clear support emerges with volume confirmation. Enters half normal size due to elevated volatility. Catches 1.5 R move, stops. Preserving capital during whipsaws often saves entire week's expectancy. Midday chop. Range-bound action from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. with false breakouts that immediately reverse. The gambler can't sit still. Takes first breakout, gets stopped, takes the reversal, gets whipsawed again. Just need to make it back becomes his mantra through 10 tiny scratches and 1 big leak when he holds a loser hoping for salvation. Down 3R by lunch. frustrated and depleted. The operator hits trade count cap after one failed breakout attempt. 3 trade maximum forces, quality thinking. Recognizes choppy conditions don't favor his edge. Walks away from screens, wins the day by subtracting. 0 risk days during unfavorable conditions equal massive victories because they preserve ammunition for tomorrow's trending conditions. Parabolic runner. Small cap stock explodes 40% on acquisition rumors, going completely vertical. Looks like free money, shorting the obvious top. The gambler can't resist. Shorts the first pause at plus 35%, gets squeezed to plus 45%, doubles down to average in because this is insane. It has to come down. Third spike to plummet 50% forces margin call. Daily limit destroyed chasing the obvious reversal that never materializes. The operator watches without FOMO. Parabolic moves violate edge requirements. No clear structure, no volume patterns, pure emotional momentum. Next day, stock opens plus 160% but sells off immediately. Waits for reclaim attempt that fails, creating lower high structure. Enters short with normal size at technical resistance. Takes 1.5 R profit methodically. The point isn't catching tops. It's respecting defined risk versus unlimited upside. Post-loss spiral. 2 consecutive stop-outs trigger emotional hijacking. The gambler's primitive brain screams for revenge. I'm down 2 R, need to get even before close. Increases position size 50% on marginal setup because I know this one will work. Third loss becomes 1.5 R due to larger size. Now down 3.5 R total, desperation peaks. Throws remaining buying power at sure thing, scalp trade. Fourth loss, destroys account. The operator triggers 2L then walk rule automatically. Closes platforms, journals emotional state, rates frustration 8/10, acknowledges urge to increase size, practices identical setups in simulation for 30 minutes, rebuilding. Confidence without risk. Pattern interrupt, saves accounts. What would your future self grade this decision? This question creates pause between impulse and action, letting protocol regain control. Mathematical reality across all scenarios. Avoiding one catastrophic trade per month transforms annual performance. Single 5R revenge trade avoided equals 25% account preservation over 5 months. One avoided 3R disaster can preserve an entire month's plus 6R grind. Conversely, single broken stop erases 20 perfect executions. The fortress works because it makes good behaviors easy and bad behaviors expensive. Weight filters neutralize urgency. If, then rules automate responses. Trade caps prevent benders. Your PL is just scoreboard. Rules are the playbook. You've seen behaviors under fire. The system holds, but only when operated by someone who identifies as professional risk manager rather than gambler seeking excitement. How do you install these responses at identity level so they become automatic rather than conscious choices requiring willpower? Behaviors stick when identity shifts. You can master every chart pattern and memorize every rule. But if you still identify as a gambler seeking excitement, your subconscious will sabotage your efforts during emotional moments. This chapter installs the operator identity at the neurological level through language reprogramming, daily rituals, and commitment devices that make professional behavior automatic rather than conscious choice. Reprogramming. Your internal dialogue. Words shape thoughts. Thoughts drive actions. I need to win becomes I need to execute. This single shift transforms pressure-based thinking into process-based thinking. I'm missing out becomes I'm staying disciplined. Reframing FOMO as strength demonstration rather than passive weakness. I lost money becomes I paid tuition. Every loss transforms from failure into education investment. I'm not in the action becomes I'm waiting for my edge. Patience becomes active skill rather than passive boredom. Practice these swaps during calm moments until they become automatic during market stress. Your primitive brain responds to language literally, so professional vocabulary creates professional neural pathways, daily practices that reinforce professional identity. Pre-market breathwork plus protocol reading creates consistent identity priming. 3 minutes of box breathing, followed by reading your rules out loud, establishes operator mindset before emotional market contact. Post-market mirror session in exactly 2 minutes prevents analysis paralysis while ensuring consistent review. Set timer, grade execution quality. Extract 1 improvement focus, stop. Sunday teacher debrief extracts weekly lessons through structured questions. What patterns emerged? Which rules saved money? What single behavior needs refinement? These rituals work because repetition creates neural pathways. Professional athletes use identical warm-up routines because consistency primes peak performance. External enforcement of internal intentions. Broker-enforced maximum loss limits remove discretionary destruction during emotional moments. Set daily loss limits at 2R maximum with automatic platform shutdown. Make cheating harder than compliance. Share trading journal with accountability partner who receives weekly performance summaries focused on rule adherence, not profits. Sticky note mantra visible during trading. I am the risk manager of my account. Physical reminder anchors identity during emotional hijacking. Commitment devices externalize willpower. Instead of relying on internal discipline during peak emotion, you rely on systems established during calm, rational moments. Automated responses to physiological triggers. If heart rate spikes or hands sweat, then stand up and reset 5-minute timer before any action. Physiological arousal precedes bad decisions by 30 seconds. Catch it early. If FOMO thoughts arise, then recite the 3-pillar system. Discipline plus patience plus resilience equals sustainable edge. If revenge thoughts emerge after losses, then close platforms and practice identical setups in simulation for 20 minutes. These rules create pause between stimulus and response, allowing rational brain to regain control from emotional brain. Making good behaviors easy, bad behaviors hard. Remove one-click position sizing, forcing conscious calculation during emotional moments. Disable mobile order entry, preventing impulsive trades during daily activities. Replace constant chart watching with price alerts at key levels. Opportunities come to you instead of hunting obsessively. Use position sizing calculator, requiring 3 inputs before any trade. Account balance, risk percentage, stop distance. Systematic responses to common excuses. Small account? All the more reason to keep risk tiny and let compounding work. Monthly 2% returns, compound to 26.8% annually through 1.02, 12 or 1.268, 1.02, 12 or 1.268. Losing streak? Shrink size to protect confidence. Increase simulation practice until edge returns. Boring returns? Professional trading is supposed to be boring. Excitement equals expensive entertainment. The twist that wins long term: doing nothing is a profitable action. Every avoided bad trade preserves capital for good trades. Zero risk days during unfavorable conditions equal massive victories because they preserve ammunition for tomorrow's opportunities. Identity installation requires consistency over intensity. Better to practice these behaviors imperfectly for 30 days than perfectly for 3 days. Your brain needs repetition to create automatic responses that survive emotional stress. Identity is shifting from gambler to operator. But how do you compound these boring behaviors into life-changing results over the next 30 days? Boring compounds into freedom, but only with systematic implementation that transforms psychological insights into measurable behavioral change. This chapter maps your 30-day transformation from gambler to operator through weekly focus themes, daily scorecards, and deliberate practice that creates account growth through discipline rather than luck. Weight filters and patience training. Practice saying no to marginal setups until rejection becomes automatic. This directly attacks the patience trap by retraining your brain to value strategic inactivity over impulsive action. Celebrate avoided trades as victories. Track no trade wins daily alongside executed trades. Challenge: identify 3 marginal setups each session and consciously pass on each one. Writing brief rejection reasons. Every past setup preserves 1 hour of risk for tomorrow's genuine A-plus opportunity. Stop discipline and risk management. Perfect the 1R system through position sizing calculations that become second nature. This dismantles the perfection prison by making downside completely predictable. Practice the formula until automatic. Position: size, D, risk, amount entry, price, stop price. Position size, entry, price, stop price, risk amount. Place hard stops at exactly 1R the moment you enter, with no discretionary widening ever. Automate loss limit enforcement through broker restrictions. Track rule adherence percentage daily. 100%, stop discipline or grade the session as failed regardless of profits. Trade count caps and overtrading prevention. Master the 3-trade maximum that forces quality thinking over quantity action. This defeats identity warfare by starving your gambler brain of constant action. Practice walking away with profits instead of pressing luck during winning streaks. After second trade, pause 5 minutes before considering third attempt. If third trade fails, mandatory session end with no exceptions or revenge attempts. Mirror quality and emotional processing. Refine 2-minute reviews extracting behavioral patterns invisible during emotional trading. Focus on emotional state changes throughout sessions, identifying specific triggers that spike anxiety or excitement. Extract your top 2 costly mistakes by frequency and dollar impact, turning vague frustration into surgical targets for next month's improvement. 4 numbers that track transformation. Execution grade, AF, are based on rule adherence, not profits. Emotional state, number 110 throughout session. Rule adherence percentage measuring exact compliance versus total rules. Tomorrow's single focus identifying one specific behavior to improve next session. This creates tangible, measurable progress beyond profit-loss noise. Deliberate difficulty training. Phone in drawer trading sessions eliminate mobile distraction temptation. 3 passes before 1 entry. Patience drills force quality. Setup selection over impulsive clicking. Walk after 2 losses. Discipline tests build emotional resilience through mandatory breaks that prevent revenge trading spirals. Small improvements compound exponentially through mathematical certainty, cutting average losers from 1.5R to 1R, while extending average winners from 1R to 1.3R transforms expectancy. Before, 0.45 by 1.0, 0.515, 0.375 bar. Before, 0.4510, 0.515, 0.375 bar. After, 0.45 by 13, down pay 1 down 35 hours after 0.513, down 5.0 down 0.35 R. The shift from losing to profitable expectancy slashes risk of ruin by 60% while maintaining identical win rate. Discipline improvements matter more than prediction accuracy. Behavioral anchors that prevent backsliding. Mandatory 5-minute breaks after any loss before next trade consideration. Celebration rituals for perfect rule adherence days. Small rewards reinforce professional behavior. Weekly progress photos of equity curves focusing on consistency rather than absolute returns. Recovery protocol for rule violations. Breathe, journal 2 lines. Practice in simulation 10 minutes. Resume only when calm. Track behavioral wins alongside financial ones. Avoided revenge trade after loss. Walked away at daily limit. Passed on marginal setup during FOMO spike. These process victories predict profit victories. The sprint framework is clear, but which table will you choose tomorrow? The casino floor where gamblers chase excitement, or the operator's room where professionals execute systems that compound boring into freedom? You stand at the crossroads every professional trader has faced. Which identity will you bring to tomorrow's opening bell? This final chapter delivers on every promise made in our opening hook while synthesizing your complete transformation toolkit that separates the 5% who survive from the 95% who quit through premature evacuation syndrome. Promise fulfilled completely. You now possess the operator loop that transforms chaotic trading into systematic business operation through plan-execute review cycles that compound daily discipline into sustainable wealth. The Fortress protocols protect you through if-then rules, environmental design, weight filters, stop discipline, trade caps, and automated safeguards that make good behaviors effortless and bad behaviors expensive. Your mirror journal system exposes self-sabotage patterns invisible during emotional trading through 2-minute diagnostics that replace ego stories with behavioral evidence. The 2 psychological firewalls, hard daily loss limits, and maximum trade counts, prevent account destruction even when every other defense fails during your worst emotional moments. The choice framework remains binary and unforgiving. Gamblers seek excitement and instant gratification, living for dopamine hits from being in the action while mistaking activity for progress. Their accounts become entertainment subscriptions with occasional profits that reinforce addictive behavioral patterns. Operators seek expectancy and systematic execution, understanding that boredom pays better than excitement, because consistent behavior compounds into life-changing wealth through mathematical certainty. The market remains your teacher regardless of which identity you choose. It provides identical curriculum to both types through price action, volatility, and structure. The difference lies in how you process lessons, as emotional validation, feeding your ego, or mathematical feedback, improving your edge. Your mantra synthesis anchors everything. Discipline plus patience plus resilience equals sustainable edge. Discipline executes rules without emotional deviation during volatile moments. Patience waits for genuine A+ setups instead of forcing action during unfavorable conditions that destroy accounts. Resilience processes losses as tuition payments rather than personal failures that trigger revenge trading spirals. The counterintuitive truth that wins long-term: doing nothing is strategic action, not passive waiting. Every avoided bad trade preserves capital for good trades. Zero-risk days during choppy conditions equal massive victories because they maintain ammunition for tomorrow's trending opportunities when your edge appears. Identity stakes demand clarity. You're not here to gamble away your financial future through exciting entertainment disguised as investing. You're here to operate a profitable business with yourself as the risk manager. This reframes every decision from "how much can I make?" to "how much can I afford to lose?" Professional traders manage downside. Profits manage themselves through expectancy mathematics we proved in Chapter 3. The 3 mind games: patience trap, perfection prison, identity warfare, now have systematic countermeasures baked into your daily operations. Weight filters reward strategic stillness. 1R stops diffuse perfectionist paralysis. If-then rules automate responses when emotions hijack rational thinking. The casino principle provides mathematical supervision. Expectancy. First, ego, last. Remember the metaphors anchoring your transformation. Market as teacher, providing feedback through every outcome. Journal as mirror, reflecting true behavior versus ego stories. Hands as sniper, requiring precision over spray and pray volume. These aren't motivational concepts. They're tactical frameworks that survived battlefield testing against news whipsaws, midday chop, parabolic runners, and post-loss spirals. Join the operator community through subscription for weekly implementation drills that maintain momentum beyond initial enthusiasm. Share your single, non-negotiable rule in comments below for public accountability that transforms private intentions into social commitments. Commit to your 30-day sprint, start date publicly. Specific dates create urgency that vague intentions lack. free mirror journal template, and Fortress checklist support your transformation through structured daily application. Your future equity curve will mirror your daily discipline. The market doesn't care about intentions, education, or intelligence, only actions under pressure. Small daily decisions compound into massive annual outcomes through mathematical certainty that rewards consistency over brilliance. Which version of yourself meets tomorrow's opening bell? The gambler chasing excitement through impulsive action, or the operator executing systems that transform boring discipline into financial freedom? The teacher market opens soon. Your homework is complete. Choose your table.